Hello and welcome to COP 4708. This session will address the use of Excel as a database. The structure of Excel allows data entry, copy-paste of data, and importing from text or CSV file format. But the question is Excel efficient? Does it do all the functions that we need? This is what we are going to learn from this session. Actually, instead of showing this slide, I will open an Excel sheet and look at the data there. As you can see, data is organized in a form of a table that has rows and columns. In our case, the table name is employee data. The employee data table captures employees' information. The columns are called fields or attributes. Remember those names because column, field, and attribute are the same. For example, zip code is one of the attributes of an employee. As a column or field, all the values in that column represent zip code. We cannot add a phone number or email address under that field. The row are called instances or records, and again you need to remember the names for these items because it will be used frequently and we will alternate between the use of these names. So again, it's row or record or instance of a data. If you look at the row, each row contains information for one entry. In our case here, we are talking about the employee. Notice that you cannot have blank row, but you can have a blank column. You can also have some blank cells. For example, I can have a column here. I can insert a column, and I will call this column evaluation, and the evaluation could be empty here with no data. So this column now, although I have a label for that column, but it's empty because I did not evaluate any of the employees yet. Once I reach the evaluation point, maybe John will be there before Amanda. So I can evaluate John, but not evaluate Amanda yet. And that's why some of these cells will be missing or empty. You saw how did I add one of these columns. So we can add a column. At the same time, we can delete that column if we need. For the records, we cannot have an empty record, but we can have some of the cells that's missing. For example, we can have the zip code here as a missing value, and either we can find it or we can leave it as is. It depends on what kind of analysis are we doing for the data. The first row is the list of unique names that represent each column. The first row does not need to be the top and the top of the sheet. It can be the second or the third if we want to, so we can actually move it down. But the most important thing is to be a title or unique for all the other columns. Having data set in an Excel format will allow you to sort the data in an ascending or descending order. You can sort the data by last name, you can sort by city, or you can sort by zip code or by any other column. Actually, you can use the advanced sort filter option and sort data based on two criteria, maybe last name, then first name, or maybe even three criteria or three columns, last name, city, and zip code. You can organize the data the way that you want. To distinguish the first row, which has the column titles, you can format it differently. In our case, it's formatted as bold. You can do it italic, You can do it bigger size. The most important thing is to format it differently. Notice that the employee ID is a unique field that can be used to find a certain record. In this case, the employee ID is considered as identifier or determinant for other employee information. In following sessions, we are going to talk about the identifier and the determinant in details. Actually, that will be called functional dependencies and relationships. The last name of an employee will depend on the employee ID. That's why we call it dependencies. And again, more details will be explained in next sessions. So how can we sort data? If you highlight one column by clicking on the letter, then click on sort in the data, that will arrange that column only and mess up your data. Actually, in Excel 2010 and 2007, the software will inform you that there are data around the selected column and will give you the option to extend your selection. The way to do it is to highlight one of the cells or click on one of the cells and then sort, and it will sort for you based on last name or first name or the highlighted cell. In this case, I will highlight or click on the last name cell, and once I do it ascending, it will organize the data, the entire data for me. You can use also the auto filter. Auto filter is easier to use than the advanced filter. In this case, once you click on the filter, it will show you the arrow beside each one of these columns. That means when you click on this arrow, it will reorganize the data based on that column. So you don't have to highlight or click on the cell, just click on these arrows and it will adjust it for you based on that column. But the auto filter method does not always have the power you need. You can further refine your filter by setting up a condition that will require 2 columns, 3 columns, whatever you like. And in this case, the set of data has to be organized by the first column, then the second column, then third column, and so on. So I will turn off the auto filter. Then I will go to the advanced by clicking on sort, and I can sort by last name. Then I can add another level where I can sort by city, and then add another level where I can sort by hiring date, and then click OK, and it will sort it for me based on the last name first, then the city, then the hiring date. As an Excel database, we can actually group the data or ungroup them. I can also create a form. So instead of manipulating the data through the columns and rows that I have here, I can manipulate it through a form interface. And to do that, all what we need to do is to right-click on the toolbar or the ribbon and say customize either the quick access or the toolbar itself. And if we want to do the quick access toolbar, which will show up here, then I can do quick access toolbar. And in the popular commands, I will select all commands. I will scroll all the way down to forms and click on form, add, OK, and I have the form icon in the quick access ribbon. Since I'm selecting this cell, I can just click on the form and I will get the form that's needed to fill in the information for maybe a new employee, or I can delete a record from the current employee. So we can create new, we can delete, we can go to next, and we can go back to previous. In addition, I can close the form or put certain criteria. So we have many things that we can do with manipulating and working with the database in Excel. The problem, Excel is not a database management system, and it has lots of limitations. The first one is limitation in the number of records that it can take. The maximum number of records is 65,000 records, and the number of columns are limited too. Sometimes you have database or data sets that's in millions. Although you can secure some worksheets, the level of security is not comparable to database management systems. And the data sets will have redundancy in them. Redundancy means repeated data that was entered by maybe two data entries, two personnel. They were entering the data at the same time, and we have two identical records. So we have redundancy. We might have inconsistencies where some data does not match the other data in either another sheet or another column. In addition, we could have missing data. The data sets in Excel might lack integrity due to multiple data sheets that is not updated at the same time. That's why we need database management systems that can manage and control the database with more efficiency. Other sessions will look into these database management systems. That will be all for this session. Thank you and have a great day.